Hello, everybody. I apologize for the introduction there. No music. I don't believe it, but that's technology for you, isn't it? It doesn't always work in the way that we always want it to. But welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here live. If you are live, this is recorded, but it is live now. I'm live on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Facebook. It's also going live out onto my podcast via iTunes, Amazon Music, where else? Spotify, and literally about 30 other places. So we get around about 10,000 people watching in all. So thank you for being here. I do appreciate it, and I'm going to try and make sure I do my level best to get the best possible return on investment from your time. We're going to be here about, 10, 15 minutes, something like that. And what I'd like to do is just to run through for you my system that I've developed. I call it results mastery. It's about mastering or bettering, getting your marketing to that elite level. And when I say marketing, really what I'm talking about is lead conversion and lead development. So it's getting leads and turning those leads into meetings and into sales, because that's really the purpose of marketing, isn't it? It's all very well, it's about awareness, it's about getting our brand out there, it's about, getting known, and that is an important factor without any shadow of a doubt. But ultimately, if you don't get leads, you don't eat. And that's literally the case in small businesses. You have to get business. And we all know, I'm sure you've heard many times, that 80% of businesses that start each and every year go bust within the first 5 years. And out of the remaining 20%, a full 90% of those are no longer trading after 10 years. So if the first 5 don't get you, the second 5 certainly will. Now, that's not necessarily true for you. It wasn't true for me, because I've been doing this now for 30 years of helping businesses to grow. I help them achieve growth, and my average growth rate within 12 months is round about 45%. So work with me and you can look forward to that sort of level of growth, give or take a little bit. So thank you, as I said, for being here. Let's get straight into it. Today, I'm going to share my screen, and I've got a slide, just one, to show you, and I want to talk you through it so you get and understand the system that I've used throughout those, it's actually 31 years now, throughout those 31 years helping businesses to grow. You can either implement it yourself, or if you want to talk to me about how I can help you, then please feel free to do so. If you've got any questions, by all means, stick them in the chat, and I'll endeavor to try and answer those questions at the end. Have I got a question? Oh, yeah, that's okay. We've got somebody telling me that they're late. Don't worry, it's good to have you here, and thank you for being so. So as I say, don't forget the Q&A if you've got any questions. So here we go. Let me just give me a second to pull this up, and hopefully that will come through there. I'm going to, if I may, just make this a little bit bigger, if I can. Right, hopefully that's it. Let me just have a look, see what that looks like. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. Okay, so these are the 6 steps of business growth that I've developed over the years. Now, you may think, well, this has been around for a time, and yeah, there's nothing new in terms of all these things. However, put them together, work on them, develop them, and you're going to notice a massive difference in your business. So number one, the first thing we're going to look at is something called obscurity. Obscurity is, in my opinion, the number one reason why businesses fail. It's certainly the number one reason why they don't grow to the level that they could. Obscurity. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the fact that not enough people know about you. You're not known enough. Neither am I. Neither is any small business. And until you get to a level where you're, I don't know, Nike or Apple or Vodafone or one of those, big companies that are known throughout the world, or throughout your world, no matter how small that is. If you're a decorating company on the Isle of Wight, then you want to be known by every single person who lives on the Isle of Wight, ideally, because all those people could become clients. It might be that you niche down further and you just want to work with people who live in houses who've got at least 5 bedrooms, because that's your target market. But my point being, are you connected to all those people? And the answer is, for 99.99999% of businesses, the answer is definitely no. So we need to be working constantly on growing our number of people that know us, that we're connected to, that we can deliver that marketing message to. Let me ask you a question. Right now, how many people could you deliver a marketing message to? How many? Have you got an email list? You could send out 1,000 emails or 2,000 emails, whatever that may be. You've perhaps got a LinkedIn list. You've got a load of connections on LinkedIn. You maybe got a few thousand there. You might be on Facebook. You can get a message out there. You might be on X. You can get a message out there, and Instagram, and so on and so forth. So whatever that is, whether that's just a few hundred, a few thousand, or a few 100,000, you probably want to work on developing that. And that's a really, really important factor. And it's also important that next month you've got more people on your list than you had this month. I've got something on my email list right now. I've done a lot of culling, getting rid of people who are not opening my emails, because we don't want to be marketing to people who are not interested. So I'm down to about 10,500. I was at way over 20, but I've got rid of a load of people who are not interested. They're either taking advantage of all the free stuff that I do, or they're just not reading their emails for whatever reason unbeknown to me. But either way, I'm down to about 10,500. Now, if we're talking in a month's time, I'd like to think that's maybe 11,500. I'll be growing it again with fresh people, fresh contacts that I've developed over the next 30 days. And that's what you need to do too. So how are you going to do that? Well, there's many ways, isn't there? You could go networking, you could go on LinkedIn, you could have something for people to sign up to free on my website. If you go to my website, there's a 12-module free online training program that you can sign up to. What's that for? Well, what I'm trying to do with that is to help people with their marketing, demonstrate my expertise, get their email address and telephone number, and hopefully develop that into some business. Not all of them, and not hard selling, but just demonstrating what I can do, showing people that I'm really good at it. And then some of them might be interested in working with me in some way. And that's, I think, a great way of developing and increasing the number of people that are connected to me. So, whatever you do, however you do it, whether it's online, offline, you can do things like go and buy lists and stuff like that. You can do stuff like pay Google for AdWords You can use your YouTube videos and so on, and many other, podcasts. If I do a podcast, I can say, look, subscribe to my podcast, or better still, go to my website and sign up to my email list to get all my latest tips and ideas and ways in which you can grow your business. You're with me on this? You see how powerful this is? Now, once you've got that, there's no real value at the moment because they're not ready, probably. The biggest problem with marketing that I see, it's all about timing. Right now, I've got those 10,500 people on my email list. Now, I don't know what percentage, but I'm going to suggest to you that 9,500 are probably sorted. They've got a marketing advisor. They've got some marketing that's going great. They're, in business, and they're happy with how their marketing is going. Maybe it's not going as well as it could, but, right now I'm not on the horizon for whatever reason. They can't afford it. Often that's the number one reason, actually, which is a bit of a, chicken and egg situation. But the bottom line is they're not going to buy from me right now. But that doesn't mean that tomorrow, or in a month, or in 2 months, or in 6 months, or in 6 years, that they will. I had a lady once, phone me up, and she said, "Oh, I don't know whether you remember me, but I came along to a networking event and you were a speaker in Swindon." I said, "I'm really sorry, but I don't." She said, yeah. It was about 15 years ago. And I now need your help. So for 15 years, I'd been emailing her probably every week, knowing me. And I'd been emailing her on an ongoing basis. And 15 years later, she's ready to buy. That's the power of the next level, called consistent communication, right? Don't drop the ball. The biggest problem here, and I'm sure you've experienced it, I know I have on many occasions, you connect to somebody on LinkedIn, for example, they ask me to connect. They say, "Hi, Steve," I get a message, "Hi, Steve, it would be great to connect and be part of your LinkedIn network." So I go, "Yes, I agree to connect." What happens next? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. They do nothing. They don't get in touch. They don't try and sell me anything. They don't do anything at all. And what a waste. Why connect to somebody and then do nothing? It's like going up to somebody at a party going, "Oh, hi, my name's Steve Mills. Nice to meet you." And the person says, "Yeah, it's nice to meet you, Steve." And then I just walk off and go somewhere else. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense, does it? That's not how we behave. And yet business owners are behaving like that all the time. Even when a lead comes in and I pick up the phone and call them. I don't get through to them. So I send them an email. I phone them again the following day, and I manage to get through to them. We have a brief conversation because they're really busy. And I make up my mind that they're not really interested, so I don't follow them up again. Even though we all hear that it takes between 8 and 12 communications to get a sale. We only try 3 times and then we give it up. So we've got to keep going. We've got to keep communicating. And by communicating, what I don't mean is your quarterly newsletter. That's not communicating. Imagine I met a young lady and wanted a romantic time with her, shall we say. What would I do? Go out for a meal and enjoy that and then say, "Look, I really enjoyed that. How about we go out again?" She said, "Yeah, great." I said, "Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll send you an email in 3 months' time." That relationship ain't gonna last. It needs more frequency. And whilst I understand we're not after that sort of level of relationship, we are still after a business relationship. So we need to kit them, keep in touch. For me, that's every week. Different businesses, different industries, maybe not quite so much. but certainly keep in touch, because we forget who it even is. Who was that person that I remember a solicitor that we hired once back in Cardiff when I was over there to sell a flat. We had a flat over there, and we sold the flat. Guy called Richard, great guy. Year later, I'm buying another property. And what was Richard's name? Oh, I can't remember his last name. What was the company? Oh, I don't know. How often had Richard been in touch with us in round figures? 0, not at all. He hadn't been in touch with us once. Now, Richard got something like, I don't know, £1,000, and probably missed out on the next 10 years, probably about another 15 to 20,000 pounds worth of business that he would have got from me buying and selling houses. Now, in addition to that, I'd have probably recommended him to a load of people. You with me? You see how important this consistent communication is? Because what we're wanting to do is to get to level 3 there. I don't know whether you can see that too well, but it says getting people to know, like, and trust you. And that is by far such an important thing. Who do we buy from? We buy from people we know, like, and trust. We also buy from companies that we know, like, and trust. And we buy products that we know, like, and trust. So if we can get a 10 out of 10 for each of those things under the heading of know, like, and trust, we can do incredibly well in our business. So we've got to sit down and think about, how can I get people to know, like, and trust me? Well, number one way I'd say is talking to them. If you talk to them, if you meet them at networking events, if you hop on Zoom meetings with them, even if you do videos like this one, I'm sure by the end of it, my level of know, like, and trust in your eyes will have gone up. At least I hope it does. And because you've listened to me, you've thought, well, Steve seems to know what he's talking about. He's not a bullshitter. And he seems to have, some level of expertise. And bear in mind, all this stuff I've learned from the world's leading sales, marketing, and business development experts, people who charge an absolute fortune, people like Jay Abraham on $50,000 an hour if you want to hire Jay. And I've learned a phenomenal amount of information from him and others. So this stuff is not stuff that's come up from me. It's come from all the learning that I've done, many hundreds, probably, well, not hundreds, thousands upon thousands of hours of learning that I've done over the last 31 years. And boy, has that world of marketing changed in that time, as we're aware. And I'm absolutely up to date with the latest technologies and AI and so on and so forth. However, let's look at section 4. So once we've got to section 3, what we've got is a level of people knowing, liking, trusting. We've then got to get them to that next level where they're communicating back to us. This is where, so let me give you an example. There's a guy in my industry called Tony Robbins, right? He's a consultant, he's a trainer, he's an advisor, great guy, incredible level of knowledge. And he's got a business that turns over, I think it's £8 billion with a B. Now, not enough to live on, but it's a pretty good start, isn't it? And, somebody who's been successful to that level, do you think he possibly knows a thing or two? I would have thought he did. And what we want to do with someone like Tony is we want to communicate with him, don't we? Because we feel we know him. We've listened to him. We've watched his videos. We've read his books. If you look at the bookshelf behind me, you'll find audio programs, CD programs. Yes, I am that old. Books and so on and so forth. And I listen to him and I learn from him on an ongoing basis. And what Tony wants now, I'm definitely at that level where I know, like, and trust Tony. If Tony puts a video out, I'm interested in listening to it. And he's got to now get me to be communicating, probably not with him, but with his team. You know, I wants that two-way communication, because what he wants to do is to transfer me from somebody who's interested and likes, knows, and trusts this person called Tony Robbins to somebody who's open to meet with. Not, as I say, because of, you know, the level he's operating at, you're probably not going to meet Tony, but you're going to meet one of his hundreds of managers, event managers, and so on and so forth. So he wants me to get into a meeting. So how's he going to do that? He's going to do everything below, and he's going to keep in touch. He's probably going to, at this point, pick up the phone and speak to me. You know, and that's something that's often missing from people. We think, oh, well, I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to be a pain, you know. And the truth of the matter is, no, you don't. But at the same time, do you want to grow your business? Because I can tell you here and now, the more people you talk to, whether that's on the phone, on a Zoom meeting, in person, at an event, at a networking event, at a conference, and so on, the more people that you speak to at that level, the more money will end up in your bank. Okay, I cannot stress that enough. So what we've got to do with those people, when we've got that communication, is convert them into a meeting. We need to meet them. It's no use having thousands of people on LinkedIn that you never speak to. They don't know you, they don't like you, particularly because they don't know you, and they certainly don't trust you yet because you're a sales guy trying to sell them something. Once you get to a level where you're getting some communication back and you feel as though there's a bit of a bond, we then need to get to meet them. We need to get in front of them, because that's where all the money is. Okay, then, and really importantly, we've got to be good at converting those meetings into sales. Now, let me give you an example here. So let's say you get 100 meetings. It doesn't matter whether that's 100 a day, probably not, but 100 a month perhaps. You know, that's like, I don't know, what, 5 a day, and you'd be doing well to get that if you're working on your own. But whatever it is, just so we can work in terms of percentages, let's call it 100. You get 100 meetings, and that equals, at the moment, 20 sales, right? If that's your number, and if you could improve that number by just 20%, from 2 out of 10 to 4 out of 10. See, that 20% to 40% is 20% more. But what that would do with your business is compound it and help you over time to double your business. Double your business by doubling your conversion rate. Do you get that? It's a 20% improvement, but it's twice as many sales. So how are you going to do that then? What are you going to do in order to improve that? Well, firstly, you need to do some training. You know, you need to be better at each and every element of this. You know, that's why it's so incredibly important. You need to be better at each and every element. You know, if you're not getting enough people in the funnel at the bottom, you know, if you imagine that pyramid being turned upside down, you're not getting enough people in the door to get to, you know, overcome obscurity. You're not communicating with them. You're not getting them into a level where they know, like, and trust you. They're not communicating back to you. You're not getting the meetings. You're probably not going to get this elusive 20% improvement to 40%. Now, perhaps you're already doing better than that. You're already converting 40%. Again, if you could improve that by 20%, that's a 50% growth in your business. So we need training. What sort of training do you need? Well, I could suggest my results mastermind group. I could suggest some of my seminars. I definitely suggest you go to my website and sign up to my 12 module free training. It's free, guys. It's not all on sales. It's on sales. It's on this, basically. It's on sales and marketing. 12 modules, free, online. You don't need to go anywhere. It's not going to cost you anything. You don't have to buy anything at all from me. And it's purely there to help you. What I would appreciate, if you wouldn't mind, is sharing the link to it once you find it on my website and tell other people about it. That would be great if you do that as a thank you for me trying to help you. The other thing that you need to do is train every day. Consistent training. If you're going to be good at sport, if you're going to be good at tennis, or some of you know I used to play table tennis at international level, and you can't do that playing once a week. You can only do that if you train consistently. Training what? Training a whole variety of different things: forehands, backhands, serve, receive, footwork, power, flexibility, getting more spin, being able to read spin, tell what spins on the ball, and so on and so forth. Whole variety of stuff that you need to do to be really at a level called mastery at table tennis. And the same is in business. So we've got to be good at LinkedIn and Facebook and search engine optimization and websites and copywriting and design and so on and so forth. Now, I know you don't have to be good at everything yourself, but you need to find somebody who is. You need to work with somebody who's going to help you to get to that next level in your business. And that's really what it's all about. So consistent training. I train myself every morning at sales from 7 to 7:30. I do half an hour of sales training every day, and I've done that for over 30 years. I wonder how much training that is. It's certainly a lot more than most people. I hear often people tell me, well, I don't really do any training. I'm not really a salesperson. Get a grip. If you're not, then who is? Who's going to get you to the next level? Because if you're not going to do anything, I guarantee, when I say do anything, I mean do anything different. If you're not going to do anything different, you're going to get the same results that you've always got. It makes sense, doesn't it? I think it was Einstein who once said, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing again and again and again and expecting a different result. So we can't do that. We have not got the option to do that in today's modern digital marketing world. If you're not, for example, up to date with AI, and I guarantee you're not, if you're not constantly working and looking and finding and researching and getting training on how to use AI, then you're falling behind. And don't tell me, please don't tell me that I'm on ChatGPT and I'm using it to do 2 or 3 things, because that was like, well, it's probably only like 3 months ago, but boy, has AI transformed since I first went on to ChatGPT, I don't know, 6-8 months ago, something like that. I don't even very rarely use it now because there are so many tools that are so much unbelievably better. And yet 99% of business owners don't even know they exist. And if they do know they exist, they only use 1/10 of them. So, we've got to try to do this. And by the way, and I'm not just saying this in order to get you to come on my event, but I am running an event soon. It's called AI Mastery. It's on the events page on my website. If you want to find out about it, then go and take a look at that. But that's about it, I think, for today. Thank you very much for being here. I do appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it. And what I really hope is that you take action as a result of it. So thank you ever so much. And I look forward to speaking to you again on my next live stream. I couldn't think of the word of it then. On my next live stream. Thank you ever so much. Bye-bye.